Hi, this is Brad with Baker County Trash Pickup. In today's video, I'm going to present you with some facts, and you can be the ultimate judge and jury as whether or not this woman was trying to rip me off. I think she is, but that'll be up to you to decide. The most important thing to say right off the bat is today's video is sponsored by Jobber. We'll talk more about that later. But the main reason is because without Jobber software, I wouldn't have a critical piece of evidence that I will present to you in my case about why I think this young lady was trying to rip me off for a week of free trash pickup. So let's get into that right now. So what you're seeing on the screen is this individual's Jobber page. Obviously, a lot is zoomed in to hide personal details. You'll see things blurred out as well. But the history of this client is that they started service towards the end of July and it was going to begin August. They ordered 2 cans and we give everybody a free month on their first can. So their first invoice was only $25, which they paid. That paid for 2 cans of pickup for all of August. At the end of August, we ran billing for September, and that was $61, $36 for the first can, $25 for the second. That invoice paid, no worries. On September 30th, we processed the invoice for October. And let me add that despite the fact that this person's home was for sale when we signed them up, which means we have no clue of knowing how long they're going to be a customer, I still decided to give them their complimentary free month because that's what I want to do. So nothing changed until I received an email at 1 in the morning on October 21st. She had some nice things to say, but said we recently sold our home and will be moving to Jacksonville. We closed this Thursday. I'm not sure what to do about the trash pickup. I won't need the trash pickup after this week. This verbiage is very important to remember because it crafts the boundaries of when she needs service. Today is October 21st when she says this. This is our pickup day, Monday. Monday the 21st is when we pick up, and that's when she sent this email. I won't need the trash pickup after this week, which means she only needs it for this week. And since this is the day we pick up, she only needs one more pickup. Will you come back and get the cans? Thank you in advance. So I wrote back just a few hours later. Again, this is the trash pickup day, so I'm up very early. Said, we appreciate your business. You can just leave the cans at the road today after we empty them. We'll be back by either later today or tomorrow to pick them up. After that, we will also process a refund back on your card for the unused pickup week in October. So now she knows to leave the cans at the street, and we're giving her money back because we are not going to pick up the last week in October, which would be Monday the 28th. I didn't receive a reply, so the day after, October 22nd at 8, I let her know that we processed the refund for the 1 week of October pickup that she wouldn't be needing, and that we'd get the cans today or tomorrow, depending on the scheduling. She replied, thank you. I'll definitely review and tell the people buying our home to use y'all as well. As of today, which is November 1st, neither of those things have been done. That's a side point, but I believe it still contributes to the overall theme of maybe this wasn't all on the up and up. But in any case, I didn't know that at the time, so I did refund $15.25 from her September 30th transaction that would have paid for October services. That $15.25 represented 1 out of the 4 pickup weeks for 2 cans. The afternoon of October 23rd is when the issues start, because when I went to pick up the cans, this is what I found. They were absolutely full of trash. You can't tell in the pictures, but the second can that has less trash, they use that to empty out the refrigerator. And they didn't bag anything, so yeah, lots of food products at the bottom, all the condiments that they clean out of the doors. It was absolutely disgusting. I spent about 30 minutes and 4 of my 96-gallon liners that I just so happen to have on the truck emptying that trash out. Obviously, I just have my work truck. I don't have the garbage truck, so this is all manual work. I bagged it up as best I could. I left it at the property. Now that I'm thinking about it, I believe I actually used a few more because I think on one of those I had to double bag, and I think there's a smaller bag behind one of the larger ones. So maybe 6 liners. The reason I make a point of the number of liners is because each one of those is 75 cents. And while at this point it is a sunk cost because I have already bought them, and use them on a client who I just refunded for trash pickup when they really need trash pickup isn't a good way to use those liners. So where you see the bags is where I left them on the property. Now, before I tell you the email communication that I sent to the client, I want to go through my thought process for a little bit. This was Wednesday morning, afternoon that I showed up and discovered this. And in my mind, there were a couple things going on. One was this client could still possibly have done nothing wrong, and this was just a miscommunication inside of the house. Maybe the husband was sent to do some final cleanup. Maybe the wife had told him at one point, hey, we don't have trash pickup after Monday the 21st, so make sure you take everything else to the dump. Maybe she told him that, maybe he forgot, and maybe it was all an honest mistake. The evidence that I'm going to show you from Jobber software leads me to believe it's not, but it still could be. So let me just make that clear. Now, because it could be an honest mistake, part of what I thought was, we'll just leave the cans here at the street and you can pick them up on the 28th on Monday's route. That would be the nice thing to do, and then you also wouldn't have to mess around manually today with the trash, because again, the way the trash got into the trash bags that you saw was me manually dumping those garbage bins over, and I'm going to tell you, they were not light. If you can imagine a trash can full of all the junk left over when you're moving out of a house, none of it's light. And especially if you're cleaning out your fridge, which they did in one of those cans, think about jars of pickle juice and all the condiments and a lot of weight. So I said, Brad, why don't you just come back and get it Monday, and then you can come back another day and get the empty cans, and that'll be a lot physically easier, and you won't have to worry about any of this, and you'll just eat the $15 and move on with your life. I thought about doing that for a bit, but the more I thought about it, the more I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And here's why. If it was an honest mistake, then most reasonable people will want to fix it and say, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize we had some miscommunication in the house. Maybe you throw your husband under the bus. I told him and it was an accident. Let me go ahead and how do we make this right? Because, we need that trash picked up. If they were doing it maliciously, however, then I don't want to set any precedent with any customer ever that is okay for you to do. Literally, the only thing we do is trade money for picking up your garbage. If I'm going to compromise on that founding principle of our business, that in fact you don't have to pay me to pick up your garbage, it may be a bit paranoid to say that would start a slippery slope. And honestly, who would even know about it unless I made this video? So it's not like it would be public knowledge. But the more I thought about it, the more I said no. If it's somebody who made a mistake, they would want to make it right, in which case I will get paid, or they're doing it maliciously, and I'm not going to let that slide. That's not okay. We work too hard, and we ask fairly little money to deal with people's trash, in my opinion. So I said, no, you know what I'm going to do is bag it all up. I'm going to leave it on the property and let the customer know. Another reason I did that was because when I saw the cans full, I stopped for a minute and went back to my phone and looked at all the communication and said, well, maybe she was just confused. Maybe I misspoke. Maybe she misspoke. Maybe I misunderstood her when she spoke. But I don't think there was, because she said this was the last week she would need trash pickup. Furthermore, she received and replied to a message from me that said, you bet, leave the cans at the street, we'll pick them up, and we will refund you for the next week's pickup that you wouldn't be getting. Most reasonable people would read that and realize that this is our last pickup and we aren't getting another pickup, which means we shouldn't put anything else in the can after Monday the 21st pickup. So all those things I went back and forth, but at the end of the day, well, not the end of the day, at the end of the 5 minutes I was deliberating on the customer's property, I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bag up the trash and leave it. And this is what I sent to the client while I was on property. I said, good afternoon. I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately the cans were full when we went to collect them today. So there was a miscommunication about when the trash pickup needed to be terminated. The trash was bagged up and we would be happy to collect it on Monday's route, but we'll need to process a new invoice for the refund we issued, as well as a $20 admin fee to cover the 4 96-gallon bags we used and the labor to manually move the trash from the cans, much of which was not bagged. As a reminder, all clients sign an agreement before they start our service that says all trash inside of a can needs to be bagged. Part of that is because if I tip a can and there's 1,000 packing peanuts in there, they're going to blow out everywhere, and I am not going to stop and pick them all up. Now, that's an extreme example that is unlikely to happen, but still, this client agreed to bag the trash. So that means if I have to manually empty this can out, I'm not going to do that for free. So that's why there was that $20 admin fee that I said. And I felt like that was fair. We spent about 30 extra minutes of labor that we weren't intending. We incurred $5 to $7 of real direct costs that we weren't intending. So I don't feel like it's unreasonable to attempt to recoup that with a $20 penalty. I also felt like if somebody made an honest mistake, they would say, yep, that's on me, I'll take care of it. And if they're malicious, they're not going to do anything about it anyway, so it doesn't matter what I say. Now we're getting into the one piece of evidence that I would submit to you that suggests to me none of this was an honest mistake. And again is why I would stress you check out some type of CRM. Whether it is Jobber or not is up to you to decide. As always, when we talk about Jobber, there will be a link in the description and comment where you can get a free trial and actually try Jobber out for yourself, especially if you run a home service business. I feel like you've got to have some kind of software. But at least in this instance, the one feature of Jobber that I really appreciated is the ability to see when people open up their emails. And when we take a look at these timestamps, I sent this at 12:30 in the afternoon, and she opened it 4 hours later at 4:16. And today is November 1st. I have received no communication at all from this individual. Using that Jobber software to send that email allowed me to figure out she did open the email, she saw it, and she's just not responding to me. And that's why I feel like this wasn't an honest mistake. Now, if that implication is true, then that means basically she just tried to finagle an extra week of pickup. I guess it could also be still a miscommunication, but maybe she was really embarrassed by it, so she just decided not to, communicate with me any further. But I think any way you slice it, it being an honest mistake that they cared about fixing, that scenario goes completely out the window. It does appear like they were willing to let their trash be somebody else's problem. Whether that was mine, because they said, well, hey, if we just put it in the trash can, what's he going to do? He's got to take his trash cans back, so he's got to take the trash. Or what I think they're doing is just leaving it for the new homeowners, because on Monday the 28th, when we did drive past, we saw new cars in the driveway. We saw some pallets that had been stacked up near those trash bags. And then we also saw the trash bags themselves. So what I'm thinking is it's something where they said, not our problem anymore. We already closed on the house. By the time the new people move in, it'll be their issue and they can take care of it. I haven't heard anything from the new owners. I haven't heard anything from my client, the previous owners. Haven't heard anything from the real estate company. So I don't know what conversations were had about our business behind closed doors. One of the things I was worried about is that the client would just say, oh, well, I don't know what happened. They're supposed to pick up and they never did. So that's another reason I'm making this video, just in case there ever is a 1-star review left from this, because like I said, the client also didn't leave a review yet. I'm not holding my breath to get one, but just in case anything negative comes from this, I really want this as a documentation so that when I reply to the Google review, I can say, well, here's all the facts and you guys can decide for yourself what that means. Which brings us to the conclusion of my defense case, I guess you could say. Wait, no, I'd be the prosecution, wouldn't I? I don't know what that is in legal terms, but you let me know what you think happened. I believe there is still a very, very small chance that it was an honest mistake. Even if it was an honest mistake, they cared so little about either myself and my wife as the trash pickup company or the people who bought the house that they said, well, they'll deal with it. Or it was malicious from the very beginning and they knew what they were doing and they were just like, yep, we'll get a free week of trash pickup, which is kind of sad because it's only $15, and I guess it's for each person to decide where the line on their integrity is, but $15 to me is not really worth disrespecting somebody in that way. $1,500? Maybe I'd think about it. 15? No. I'm just gonna say, I'm sorry. Completely my fault. Here's a $20 fee. Here's the $15. Take it in good health. Additionally, I'd like your feedback on what you would have done in my position. While I do feel like physically it would have been easier to just leave the cans and do the pickup Monday, it might have even resulted in more time because I would have had to drive the truck back out to that location again to pick up the 2 cans. So, if you say, well, you spent more time than you had to emptying the cans out, you should have just picked them up on the route. I would have spent that same amount of time either way. Either I emptied the trash out and took the cans then, or I went home with nothing and then emptied the cans out on Monday's route with the garbage truck, and then had to come back out again with the 2500 to pick those cans up. So I would have wasted time and fuel either way. So one way it was a waste of time and labor, the other way it was a waste of time and fuel. So it was really 6 of one, half dozen of another. But the thing for me that I couldn't get over was just the fact that my whole existence in this business is trading money for picking up trash. And that's something at the end of the day, I don't really feel like I could concede on. I mean, it's not like somebody who's paying me to mow their lawn and, I pick up a few sticks at no charge as an added benefit. This is the only service I offer, taking your trash away. And the only thing I ask in return is that you pay me for it. So if somebody doesn't pay and is just ghosting me completely, I'm not going to extend any goodwill and say, well, let me just go ahead and do it. I don't know if that makes me a jerk or not, but that's a conclusion I came to in this particular situation. But I do want to hear your feedback on all aspects of that. What would you have done if you were me? And then what do you think, based on the evidence I gave you, was going through the homeowner's mind? I'm interested to hear. Now, I have missed quite a few weeks of pickup videos, and I think a couple of those were from hurricanes and a couple of those were from sicknesses. So we're quite a few weeks behind real time, and some of you don't like that. So we're going to try and fix that in the upcoming videos, and we are going to give you updates on several weeks at once so we can try and get you caught back up. The other thing, a lot of you folks liked the POV camera style. So I did film one more of those, and we're going to try that out. I believe I turned hyper smooth on and made the field of view bigger. Another suggestion somebody did was get a chest mount instead of a head mount, because one of the things I didn't like about the head mount was the amount of movement, and it makes me sick to rewatch it. But I think the chest mount might be a good compromise. So I have one of those from Amazon coming. So moving forward, I am going to try the point of view chest mount for a few videos. Please give me your feedback on them. A lot of you folks, there were so many comments on the POV one that I did that said they really liked that a lot better than these fixed cameras. And to be honest, if you like the point of view, if the majority does, I'll probably just do that, because having one camera is exponentially easier than having two. It's not like it's half the work. It's probably a third of the work for me to just run one camera, especially when it comes to the editing portion. Splicing two cameras together, especially when you've got, 5 hours of footage, it's extremely difficult. So we'll do the POV moving forward. And remember that a lot of the decisions in this series are driven by your feedback. So leave me comments about what you like, about what you don't like. And now we will get into 3 weeks worth of updates. For the week starting September the 2nd, we added 5 clients and 6 cans. We spent just under $26 in fuel to complete that pickup route. When we look at our income minus our costs for that week, we're left with a profit of $658.02. Kendall and I spent about 11 man hours on this day's route, which works out to roughly $59.82 an hour for each of us. I remember when we first started out, I think that number was like $6 an hour. So you can see that the efficiencies of scale are starting to come into play, where if we're adding cans that are next door to people we already have, or in the same neighborhoods, or on the same roads we're already passing, that is going to bring that hourly rate up, because we don't really spend that much more time, but we do get an extra $9 roughly each stop. We dumped 3,160 pounds, which was an increase of 900 pounds from the previous week. I can't remember if this was just a heavy week. We haven't picked up that often, but I will see that sometimes we just have heavy weeks. Usually that's a consequence of some percentage that forgot pickups the week before, so they've got double the trash this one. So you'll run into these situations where you'll have a lighter week followed by a much heavier week because they forgot to put their trash out, which made it a lighter visit. Then they've got a lot of trash the next time, which makes it a heavier visit. I think that's why we had such an increase. Again, if you're new to the channel, Baker County, the county that I live in, we are part of a tri-county landfill that is fairly close to us. It's not in our county, but it's the next county over. Any trash that's generated by residents, the county pays for. So that's why this font is in white. I didn't have to pay this $47.40 in dump fees. The county did. Moving on to the week of September the 9th, we added 2 clients and 2 cans, spent $28 in fuel. Our profit for that week was around $674. We spent around 12 hours, and our hourly rate was $56.18. Whether that was because of traffic or because I added a neighborhood that took some driving, I honestly can't remember, but you will see these fluctuations where, you know, if we get stuck in a school zone for a while, sometimes it'll slow us down 10, 15 minutes, that kind of thing. We only had 40 more pounds than the week prior at $3,200. That would have been $48 that we had to pay. But again, Baker County government picks up that tab. And then finally, the week of September 16th, we added 3 more clients and 3 cans, spent almost $30 in fuel. Our profit just under $700 for that week. Had a little bit longer of a work day at 12.5 man hours, which was just under $56 an hour. And another increase in weight, 3,300 pounds, we saved $50 in dump fees. I think we have 4 or 5 more weeks to bring you up to current. We'll probably cover the next few weeks in this coming weekend's video. Another thing you'll see in that next video is our Every Door Direct mail campaign that Mike Andes helped us out a lot with. If you don't know who Mike Andes is, he's the CEO of Augusta Lawn Care, which is a lawn care franchise. He also has quite a few different YouTube channels. But over the past couple months, one of the things that he and his media team helped me out with was putting together an Every Door Direct mail campaign and mailer. And so you'll see some of the results of that. And I will say it helped us out a lot after we sent that first batch of mailers. We got quite a nice influx of customers. And so moving forward, those Every Door Direct mailers are going to be a part of our marketing strategy. Honestly, the success with them that we had in the first week kind of paid for the whole campaign, not just that one mailing that we did. So that's good news for us. But you can look forward to that in next week's video. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it.